everybody. Welcome to our very first ever behind the scenes live. And we're going to photograph a recipe together today. And I'm going to take you through my process. Like I told you, this is like, isn't scripted. You kind of get to see, like, whatever happens, happens. Okay. So just bear with me. We're going to have a fun time today, I promise. I'm photographing a banana bread. And so we'll get into that in just a minute. But you see Lenore on the screen right now. Lenore is going to be behind the scenes capturing all of your questions, okay? Because if you got questions, if you got comments, put them in the comments below. She is monitoring them, and then we'll be able to answer them like as they come in. So Lenore, if you see a question that would need to be answered right away, why don't you pop back on the screen and ask the question so that we can make sure to answer
Sounds
as we
good.
go. But I said that there was going to be a couple of giveaways at the very end. Okay. So what we need you to do for that giveaways, we need your name. All right. And so because we're with the streaming software we're using, it doesn't tell us your name on our end. So what I need everybody to go do is in the top somewhere it says, hey, we're going live with StreamYard. Click the link below to allow StreamYard to know who you are. That way your name pops up. We need to be able to collect everybody's name to put it in our giveaway wheel. So make sure that you do that right now before we go even any further. Put your name, click the link below, and let StreamYard know who you are, so we can know who you are. We want to be able to call you by name. Otherwise, you just show up as Facebook user. So why don't you guys go do that right now? And then I'm going to be asking you questions throughout the live. And I want to be able to see your responses so Lenore can put your name in the giveaway wheel. All right. So first of all, first question is, where are you guys watching from? See, it's not a hard question to answer. Easy, I promise. Easy questions to answer. So let us know where you're watching from. Okay. All right, so are you guys ready to get started? Are they ready to get started, Lenore?
I
Do you
think
see
they're
it?
ready. I see
I know
people. I still
we
see a lot of Facebook users, but I am
Facebook
seeing a lot more
users.
names. So that's great.
Okay, yeah, awesome. We have, holy cow, I'm just seeing the number of people watching go up. This is so exciting.
Awesome.
It's awesome. So you guys, let's get started. And I'm going to start kind of at the very beginning here. We're gonna keep this to about an hour. Don't worry if you have to go. There is going to be a replay available. So I have somebody behind the scenes. You can't see her. Renise is kind of filming behind the scenes. So if I call out to somebody, I have, hey Renisa, she's a friend of mine and she's come to help us here today. So Renisa, if you can click the behind the scenes layout so we can make sure that everybody can see this layout really well, over on the end right here. Right there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so you're gonna see me on this side. I know it's a little bit bright. Okay, this is a south-facing window. It's going to get very warm in here in just a little bit. But you can't really see it. You can see a little bit. I actually have a huge diffuser sheet for this window. In the past, I've used like these Westcott reflectors, and they're great, but they're just not big enough for this window. So I went to Amazon, and they have diffuser sheets. Okay, and so I just hung this. It needs to be hung. If you do something like this, it needs to be hung tight. Okay, no wrinkles. I know people are like, use a shower curtain. It's not the same material that's needed for a diffuser, and light still comes through. So this is actually, you can see on my board, a nice even light. But you can still see some really great shadows here. You have also seen in the past where I have put up a reflector here that's kind of bounced the light back on to the table, and you're not going to see that today for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is because you need to be able to see me, and I want you to be able to see my board. And number two is I want to create more shadows on my board. I want to create a little bit more depth and more textures in my food, and by removing this reflector, I'm going to be able to have the shadows that I need. Okay. So it's okay to play around with those shadows. I definitely started with that light, and it's really helpful if you got a little bit darker space to put that reflector there. But it's also okay to branch out and play with the light and to play with the shadows, okay? Because food needs that. It needs it needs that depth, it needs the highlights, it needs the shadows, it needs that contrast. So I would challenge you, if you haven't tried that yet, play around with it. Now, if you're using artificial light, that's going to be a little bit different. But even with artificial light, is the goal for artificial light is to make it look natural. Okay, we don't want people looking at our photos and being like, which artificial light source do you use, right? We want it to look as natural as possible. And the way to do that is to making sure that you are creating shadows on your board. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so that's the first thing. So you are going to see just a little bit overexposed here. I was, because I'm right here trying to expose for me so you can see me, but at the same time being able to, be exposing for me basically is what we're doing. So it's a little bit bright over here. All right, so you can see here the styling supplies that I have picked out for this banana bread. All right, I've made 2 loaves of banana bread. I have not cut into these. It's like if you're listening, if you're a student and you're like, okay, here it is, I'm cutting it in. It's like we don't know what's going to happen. Whatever happens, happens from this point on. So I've got 2 loaves of bread for you today. So these are the styling supplies that I'm going to be working with. These are brand new boards, you guys. We're going to be sharing more about boards later. Kind of excited about the boards. These boards, never been used, never been I don't know if I'm dropping enough hints or if I just sound really corny right now. Pretty Focused is in the process of testing out our own boards. There. I just said it. I just put it out there, you guys. And so what you're going to see is, I'll tilt this up. Not only are you going to see this flat board here, this 2x3, but I'll move this up so you can see this is a 2x2 board. Okay. Oh, I'm going to get myself in trouble because I'm moving my setup, but I want you guys to see this, right? Okay. So you're going to see this. This is a 2x2 board connected to a 2x3 board. It's a warmer tone. It's not white. It's a little bit creamier. It's going to look so good with the banana bread. I'm really excited to pair this with the banana bread, and the same for the acacia wood nesting cutting board. It's like the same color as the banana bread. So I think just all of these colors are going to work really well together. This is a trivet, but I thought I have used this for like a little cooling rack before. So I just have a couple of different things on my board that I'm going to play around with. And I just realized I didn't wash some of these things after I pulled them out of my Amazon box. So it's fine. We'll be fine. Yeah, so these are like the styling supplies that I'm going with right now. So it's got a creamier look. You can see that there's a little bit more texture. These little stands that I have here, we have a wonderful student and her son has created these backdrop stands. So it's a lighter in color, and I don't think the way I'm going to be shooting, you're going to be able to see those in the photo. If not, it's cream and it just kind of will blend into the background as well. So this is kind of the setup that we have. How many of you guys are excited about the possibility of Pretty Focused styling boards? Anybody? Lenore, what are they saying in the comments? Help me know. What are they saying? Are they excited? They're I can't. You're muted. You're muted. Tell me what they said.
People are super excited. And it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we are
Lots
guys.
of
We're
emojis.
working.
I'll tell you, there are a lot of emojis happening right now.
I know so much, so much. So what's great? I'll just.
Melody,
Okay. Talk
and
to
just
me.
real
What?
quick, you have over 80 people watching you right now.
What? Oh my god, that's
Yep.
amazing. So okay, I'll just like I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'll show you a little bit more about these styling boards and what we really like about them. I'm just gonna come down here, and not tear anything down. What is amazing, you guys, is these styling boards are going to be two-sided. They're going to be two-sided. They're going to come, I think right now, I'm just putting this out there. We're still in the planning stages. We would love to be able to sell this combo of this 2x3 along with the 2x2 backdrop, right? So it's like a set. All right. So then the back side of the 2x3 is going to be the same color here. And so you can use, yeah, I mean, so it'll be a set. So you're essentially getting, you'll be getting two boards, but two colors. So two sets of boards in one. Um, and we do have these, we can, um, let you guys have access to these stands, even if you have I have a like a 2 foot wide table. So those of you working on a little bit longer table, the stands will hold that 2x3 backdrop if you're working with that. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I wasn't planning on it, but I did it. So Lenore, we're excited. We're excited. And we hope that you guys are excited too. So all right, I had to share that. So yes, never before seen board before. And then you guys are going to be able to see the end result. I'm going to be posting the photos, later after I take them and edit them and everything. So, all right, little bit of a detour. Is that okay? All right. So the very first thing that I need to do is, oh, this has a glaze. The banana bread has a glaze, and it's too thick right now. So that's fine. I have my little bourbon vanilla. So before I get that out, I am going to add just a little bit more. You know how it is with like powdered sugar, right? I don't want to so just so you guys know, these are PVC boards. If you throw stuff on them, like if I were to, this trivet has little feet on it. If I were to like put a crock pot on this and set it on the board, it would dent. That's just the nature of PVC. So that's just something to be aware of. If you want a board that's not going to dent or scratch, then, make it out of wood. All right. So I want to make sure that this glaze hugs the bread. All right. So these are things that we have to pay attention to whenever we're photographing, is making sure that the recipe itself is well executed. And I don't want to just pour on this glaze and just have it dump all the way down. I want it to hug the bread so we can see those glaze marks. So I've got that ready. But the very first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on 3 different setups today with this banana bread. And so I've done my research. First of all, like I know what photos that I need to get, but I want you to also think about this. If you feel like overwhelmed, well, how am I supposed to photograph this bread? Like what kind of shots do I need? And I want you to think, first of all, as yourself as a consumer. So that's kind of where I'll start, is what's important to me whenever I am going for that banana bread recipe. I want to know what the top looks like, right? I want to know what pan they've used. I want to know what the inside cut, like the crumb of the banana bread looks like. If there's a swirl, can I see the swirl? And this actually is cinnamon swirl banana bread. And those are like the things that you're like, I really hope you can see the swirl whenever I open this up, or whenever I cut it open. So I've got 2 loaves, so hopefully we can see the swirl. But you guys know what I mean. You're like, is the swirl going to be there? But okay, so I'm going to, so I want to do it. I know what needs to happen as a consumer. The pan, right? What is the bread, the top of the pan? What does the bread look like from the top? What does the pan look like? What pan did they use? What shape pan did they use, right? And so I'm like a little bit particular about the shape of my pans. I thought I had 9 bread pans. I have 8 bread pans now. I've got a couple of glass ones. I got a couple of metal ones, but they all have like the rounded corners. And here I really wanted to do a square corner pan because I like the sharper edges in the photo. I just think it adds I just think it adds something. So I've got the sharper, so I've got like the square cornered pan. This is a USA pan. We have this linked in our Amazon storefront. Are you guys liking the links to the Amazon storefront? Because I feel like I love it whenever I see what other people are doing and what other people are buying. And so um, I love it. So I hope that you guys are enjoying it too, kind of give you some inspiration um, and let you know what other people are doing. So I hope you guys are checking out those links and you like seeing them because we're going to be sharing more ideas, but we want it to be products that we would use, products that we have used. So anyway, but then the other thing is, like I said, I want to know what the crumb looks like inside. All right, so today I'm focusing on three main heroes: the overhead, okay, and the cut slices, what it looks like cut straight from the loaf and then served. Okay, so what would that look like served? Well, like how would you serve it to your guests? Um, Obviously, you're going to be taking it out of the pan. You're probably going to be using a cutting board, right? So I try to think of it as as a reader, what am I looking for in a recipe? Okay. What do I appreciate knowing about a recipe? How am I going to be serving this to my guests, right? If you kind of think from like oven to table, from oven to serve, it's kind of like that progression. Okay. And then I also research. I also know, okay, how is banana bread looking online, right? Because that is really going to be important to our clients too. Like, what does banana bread look like? So, we talk about how to research this in depth inside of the course, but just know that I am doing a lot of, we call it hero hacking, to make sure that I'm photographing banana bread the way it needs to be photographed. And what's great is that often lines up with how I see it myself as a consumer and as a reader myself. So that's really great. So that's kind of my process a little bit. But we're going to get started. So let me tell you my gear. My gear is an R6 mirrorless. I switched to this. It's probably been almost a year now. Yeah, it's been about a year now. I had the Mark IV, wonderful camera. I was having focus issues with it. And I was in a situation, not food related, but people related, where it missed focus. And I was like, I will never be in that situation again. So I moved to the R6. I have had other people, and I know other people that use the Mark IV, and they don't have any problems with it. So that's great. I had problems with mine, so I moved to the R6, and I have not regretted it. It is a phenomenal camera. It's fast. The auto colors are fantastic on it too. Um, and so, but I'm going to show you how to still do a custom white balance because I think that's still important. And so I've got my 50, my 51.2. I've got my 100 macro. And I also have, I have a little cart back here. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's kind of where I put my tool bag and stuff. And then I have this, I got a 24 to 70 as well. I want to show you guys these because I don't know if I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of dark. This is a lens cap. I don't know if you guys ever lose your lens caps. I have lost lens caps. And so I found this brand on Amazon, and they are really, really great lens cap replacements. I also got like the rear cap replacements too, because I don't know why they just get lost. So that's a tip for you. Renee's behind the scenes. She does wedding and she does portraits and stuff. And so it's just really nice to have. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm just going to kind of move this off to the side. So I have some linens picked out, creamier linens. Okay, they're creamier linens. That's going to go with the backdrop. It's going to go with the creaminess, of the banana, right? The glaze, the plates, everything. I'm kind of going with creams and browns here if you haven't noticed. And then even in here. So I've got it's like a brown, it's like banana red color right in there. So that's what I'm going with today, you guys. I got this enamel pan. We're going to use that. We're going to see how that goes, but let's get started photographing. The first thing that I need to do is I'm going to format my card. Well, I'm gonna go through and make sure I took all the photos off my card first. And then I'm just gonna format my card. Um, that's how I clear my cards. I don't do it on my computer. I do it in my camera. If you get a new SD card, format it to your camera as well. Um, so that's just one thing that I do whenever I get a new SD card is stick it in there and then format it to your camera. All right, so I am going to get my settings ready, and I might have to move this camera overhead because I'm going to be getting some overheads in the it's kind of in the way a little bit. But I'm going to start with setting my expo disc. So I've got my settings ready right now. And then I am going to set my expo disc over. You can tilt it straight up or tilt it a little bit more towards the light. Oh, hold on. First of all, hold on, hold the phone. I had it on Kelvin, so I need to set it to custom white balance. Now I can set it. And now I go into custom white balance and select that photo. And I should be good to go. And I'm going to switch it back to autofocus. Okay. Now, one thing that I've added inside of the course is I have added how to use back button focus. And I'm gonna, I need to get an overhead, but I'm in the way. So I'm actually gonna do this for a little bit, you guys, if that's okay with you. You can see, you should still be able to see, okay. There we go. Okay, I am going with just a little bit more minimalistic here and just letting the bread shine, okay? I've got some nice texture on my styling board. That extra texture helps so much. I can bring some things in and kind of frame around the photo or frame around the pan, but my food is front and center. So a lot of times in food photography, you see a really nice pulled back shot of a whole entire scene. And those are beautiful photos, and I have such an appreciation for those photos. But what we're doing here is really making sure that the food is the focus. And so my food is really going to be close to filling the frame of my camera. Okay. I might have a few things pop in, but that's where having that a little bit extra texture on the styling board kind of helps fill it in. That makes it look not as, let me show you. Can you see this? Oop. You can see that, right? Where it's just my camera or the pan has just filled the frame of the camera, right? If you can see this, you are probably seeing that grid that I have on there. That's dynamic symmetry. And I have this on there on every photo I can see and make sure I'm following those dynamic lines of symmetry. I don't know if this is available on the Mark IV, but on the R6, it is absolutely something that I have. Renisa, do you have that on your camera?
Yeah.
Okay, so she has you have a 5 Mark 6D Mark II. Yeah, okay, there we go. She's got a 6D Mark II, and she's got that dynamic line of symmetry on there as well. And so then I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna make sure that the photo is in focus, or the bread is in focus. Okay, I'm also notice where I focus, the focal point is on like the very top dead center. So whenever I'm focusing, whenever I'm composing, those two things very much go hand in hand. Okay. I want to make sure that first of all, my photo is well composed, but if you have a photo well composed, but your focus is on the board, your eyes are like, what the heck is happening? Your eyes are your brain is trying to process what's happening in the photo, right? So having things centered in the photo is a very strong composition. It's a very strong, and so you want to make sure that you have the focal point placed the top. Now you can't see it. Well, you can see. So that like the top part of the bread, I don't want on this low part of the bread. I want it on the top part of the bread that's closest to the camera, that's closest to center. Okay, so that's what I'm working with right here. My aperture and the depth of field is also going to help with that. So right now I'm at a 5. My aperture is at a 5. And if you are inside of the course, you have access to the, I'm trying to see if I have it laying around here somewhere. You have access to the camera settings cheat sheet. And I really talk about aperture and show you that distance to your subject matters. It's not just, I'm going to set my aperture and I should have enough in focus. The lens that you're using, the camera that you're using, the distance to that subject all matters a lot. And so I really break that down inside of that camera setting cheat sheet. I also talk about an app inside the course that has really helped me understand depth of field and what it does to a photo. All right. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna move on. Like guys, I took like 3 photos overhead. I'm done. I'm moving on. Okay. Move on. There's no reason to take 20 to 50 photos of it overhead. You got it or you didn't. Okay. All right, so this might be a little bit loud. Sorry. I am going to pull the bread out first of all, and I'm going to set it on parchment paper. I have this link in our Amazon storefront, right? This this bread. Let's see if it comes out. Oh, perfect. Look at that. Okay, USA pan, and then I did spray it with a little bit of Baker's Joy, and like you just came right out. It's the best. It is the best. I have like 3 of those cake pans, the USA cake pans, and I've like done chocolate cake in them, like just a chocolate sheet cake. You guys, so good. All right, so the next thing, obviously, before I cut into it, is I'm going to be putting that glaze on there. Now, again, so I use this parchment paper, okay? I'm going to bring this into the frame of the photo just a little bit more. I'm going to put this back overhead. Nope, not yet, because I'm going to, you guys are good though, right? Lenore, they're good? Thumbs up? Okay. Oh, also what I always have, you guys, you can't see because they're not my favorite color, but just the Costco microfiber towels. I've got a wet one and a dry one, so I don't have to keep running back and forth to the kitchen. Okay. All right, so I wrinkled the parchment paper again because it's one of those ways that you can add in some texture, add in some interest to the photo. Okay. It's like you can have very, very little on your board. Very little. You don't have to go crazy with styling. Some people get like exhausted with how do I style this? Like you just feel like you have to reinvent the wheel every time. And you can keep it simple, but by adding that texture to the paper, by wrinkling it, I mean, it added so much more character and definition because now we have more shadows. Now those little creases create more shadows. So I'm going to do another overhead like this, the pan out, and I'm getting just a little bit of bright spots on there. Okay. That's still pretty bright. So what's happening right now is on this side, because it is so close to the window. And the way that the paper did wrinkle, I'm getting like a really, really bright spot. So I'm gonna see if I can move it over just a little bit and see if that will help. And then I'll obviously check for my exposure settings, but I don't want it to be too, no, I don't like that. I don't like it, you guys. That's a little bit better. A little bit better, but I don't like how it looks on the paper. So let's just hang on. Just hang on a minute. Hold your horses. These are the things, right? These are the things that you run into and you're like, I got to problem solve this. How do I problem solve it? So these are the things that I wanted to be able to walk you guys through, that you can't always, you can't fit every detail inside of a course. I mean, you guys would still be watching it. But that's why these lives I think are going to be really helpful. So what I'm going to be looking for now is, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. What I'm looking for now are the lines of the parchment paper and how that's going to work with my composition. I felt that it was with the lines of the bread, right, and the lines of the parchment paper, there was too much. It was a little haphazard. I like straight lines. I like symmetry. I like it whenever I photograph portraits. I like it whenever I photograph food. It's just, I like it. I like it. It's easy for me to see. So now let's try this. And so what I'm looking for now are for those lines to frame the bread. And let me see if you can see this. So this was it before. You can see that I've got the lines of the bread here, but it was kind of, I had a random corner here. Can you see that? Oop, I zoomed in. So it was like a random corner here and a random hard line there. And so here, by moving it this way, right, I now have the parchment paper now frames the bread. And so that's the important part of the parchment paper, is that not only is it creating texture, but it's also framing the bread too, okay? So I'm gonna grab one more of those. Again, making sure this is overhead, so I'm photographing on the part that's closest to center, but also closest to the front of the camera. Okay, and I might even show you guys some backlighting, because this is easy for me to do as a natural light photographer. All I do is rotate. Can you see that? You still see that? All I do is rotate, and now I just photograph from this way with the light behind it. Okay. I like to add those in. Not everyone is going to be backlit, but on some of my heroes, I like to add it in just so I have that variety of lighting. Boop. Here we go. Did you guys notice my shirt? This is my picture taking shirt. Okay, do you get it? You get it? So we have 2 giveaways. We're gonna give away your choice of the picture taking shirt, or Lenore's Pretty Focus sweatshirt, because I hear, that's right, I hear that it's cold in other places in the United States. So some of you might want a sweatshirt. Okay, so now I'm going to be working on this glaze. I'm trying to keep it to an hour, you guys, but I don't know if I can. That doesn't mean that heroes take an hour. It means Melody is talking while she's doing this, so that's slowing me down just a little bit, okay? Taking time to explain it to you guys, just so you know. So if you're like watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, it took her so long to get 5 photos. Well, that's because I'm walking you guys through it, which I have to say, my inner child is so happy right now. I was just telling my husband before this, like whenever I was in, not even my inner child, my inner college student, because in college I used to watch Food Network all the time. It was always on. It was what I watched. And then I used to pretend I had my own cooking shows whenever I would cook in the kitchen, and nobody would be home. It would just be me, but I would be cooking and talking them through it. So I was like, I'm so happy. I'm so excited about today because all of my dreams are coming true. So anyway, so just, all right. So I'm going to go through, and that glaze is hugging so nice, so nicely. I love that. You guys see that okay? I like to use this little mini whisk whenever I do glazes. And a little bit on the board and on the paper is okay. Oh, Redonda says a controlled mess, right? So I'll say this while I'm doing this is in December, I'm going to be doing a 5-day challenge where I am walking you through the whole planning process. I'm breaking down a recipe into 5 days, and I'm going to walk you through behind the scenes of how I plan, and I'm going to take you into how I photograph the process, and I'm going to take you into how I photograph the heroes, and then I'm going to show you how I edit the photos. So some of it will be live, some of it will be recorded, like the editing will be recorded, because that would be too hard to screen share and edit at the same time. I don't think the computer would like that very much. So that is coming up. So if you guys are interested in that, put it in the comments below. Let us know if you're interested in doing something like that, joining us for a 5-day challenge. There we go. All right, so I'm going to move. So my little vanilla, you guys, bourbon vanilla. So good. It is delicious. So I'm going to put that in the frame of the photo just a little bit. Now that was a little melody addition. I love bourbon vanilla. This is one too with the highlights, with the lightness of the bread, or I'm sorry, with the lightness of the glaze. Doop a doop a doop. I am going to backlight too. Again, making sure my bread is filling the frame of the camera. Not completely. I do have, like, there's even space around it. I can go a little bit darker. It is bright. It is bright. It is hot, isn't it? I'm dying, Renisa. I'm dying. It's getting really, really hot. Okay, so now that I've got that, again, I've been doing my 50. I've been using my 50 for those. And so now what I want to do is I'm going to move some of this plate. So did you notice that I still had all of this stuff on my board? All of it. I don't see any of that because I shoot so close to the food. I could have all this on my board and it didn't, like, you couldn't see it. It wasn't obstructing the view or anything. But now because I'm going to be doing some stuff from the side, well, now I'm going to be cleaning it up a little bit. So I had all these supplies out. I don't know if I'm going to use them all or not. I'll let you know. I'm just going to put them on the floor right here. There we go. Okay, alrighty. I have this. Well, oh, can you see that? Oh yeah, you can see that. This is a safety grater. So if you've been like, where is that? Where can I find that mini cooling rack? It's not a mini cooling rack. It's a safety grater. So we have this linked in our storefront. Somebody on Instagram was like, I've wanted one of these for so long. You guys are so cheap. Why don't you have one yet? Safety grater. It's adorable. You can use it for cookies. Can use it for bread. So I'm going to see if I can put a few slices of bread on there.
Hey, Melody,
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes. No, go ahead.
We've had a couple questions about what your camera settings are.
Oh, yeah. What
Because I know
kind of
you
camera
talked about
settings?
aperture, but we've had some questions about the other settings as well.
Okay. Are you wondering about like my exposure settings? You can pop back on Lenore for this part. Are they wanting to know about camera settings? Or or
Yes.
like
Your shutter
exposure or
speed.
like the shutter speed and all that stuff? Okay, cool.
Yep. Also, you had some really positive feedback about your 5-day challenge. Lots of questions about
Yes.
that.
Oh,
Lots of
great. Yeah.
interest.
Good. You got questions about the 5-day challenge? Ask them because we want to make sure we answer them for you and it'll help us make the 5-day challenge even better for you. So my camera settings. Okay, so I did talk about aperture. This is a very, very bright space, right? You can tell I might need to, I'm going to lower actually my shutter speed on this camera or my ISO over here too, so you can see. Hopefully that's better. I'm streaming. Is that better? I'm streaming with an M50 over here, so I have some control over the settings. Okay. You didn't ask about that though, so you don't really care. All right, my ISO right now is 1600. My f-stop is 5.6 and my shutter speed is 400 right now. I have some wiggle room with my shutter speed. I could bring my ISO down to 1000. I move my, okay, this is like a 1-to-1 ratio. Think of it that way. Okay. I move my ISO down 2 stops from 1600 to 1000. That means I have the ability to keep the same exposure. If I want to keep the same exposure, I can now adjust my shutter speed down 2 stops from 400 to 250 and it still have the same exposure. Okay. Same if I were to move my aperture up to, I could compensate by moving the others to in the whatever direction I needed to keep it the exposure the same. Does that make sense? Did that make sense, Renisa? Okay, okay. Alrighty, so now you guys, the moment of truth. I'm gonna move this onto my cutting board. I just got this. I don't have it linked. I can share it with you guys if you want. It's beautiful. But just a warning, if you're like me, you're like, oh, I'll deal with it. It's cute. I'll figure it out. So the first one I ordered, it came really warped. So obviously they replaced it for me. But it's a crumb catcher cutting board. And I make bread all the time just for myself at home and I get crumbs everywhere. So if you're like Redonda though, you love the crumbs. And she's like, but that adds to the photo. I'm like, that's great. Do it. um, so like I'll still have crumbs in the photo for sure. But I just thought I thought I would try it on here. I'm gonna move my parchment paper off now. But yeah, I thought I would try it. Clean up my board just a tad. But I thought it was like two pieces in one because you kind of get like this really nice serving tray, and then you also get this also like a little rack. I don't know. It's just pretty. I feel like certain wood stuff, like it just, I don't know. Certain wood, like the bamboo wood, is orange and gross, and I just thought this was a pretty wood. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do another overhead, but I'm getting a, maybe, we'll see. Ooh, I don't know about that. I'm like getting a partial. I don't think I like that. I don't like it. I got enough overheads. I'm fine. So I'm gonna start. You guys, this is it. You want to come over? You want to get me slicing it on this side? The moment of truth. Will there be a swirl? How many pieces do I need to cut to be able to see the swirl? You guys feel my pain? You know. You know. Okay. Whoa. That's like crazy. Whoa. That's you guys are probably dying, right? You're like, show us the swirl. I'll show you. It's weird. I got a random swirl. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? It does have a nice, like so what you had to do, the recipe said, was to put in the batter. I think that's a piece of banana. You had to put in half the batter, you put the cinnamon sugar on it and you put the other batter on top. So it's a, it's supposed to have just like a little bit of a curve to it. This is what I want to see as a consumer, as a reader, right? This is it right here. I want to see this. I'm gonna move this back over. I wanna see that swirl, so I wanna make sure I'm showing that swirl, okay? All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm gonna switch to my, my 100. You guys, if you don't have a macro lens or a macro filter, it's absolutely necessary. Bloggers they want those close-up shots. And in order to do that, you got to have a macro, okay? And so it's just a way that we can make sure we're serving our clients well and giving them the photos that they need, okay? So that's part of it. Got my little cloth. Make sure my lenses are clean. Front and back side. This one's a little dirty. Those things are noticeable. They look hazy. So if a coach is like, your photos are looking a little bit hazy, go check your lenses. All right, so it's just the bread and the board, you guys. It's just the bread and the board. I don't have a ton of stuff on my over here. I don't, if I had a cool knife like Redonda, I would probably put it on there, but I just have my normal bread knife. It's not super exciting and it kind of doesn't go with the style of everything else. I'll just put the glaze back on there, I think. Okay, alrighty, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm not resetting my Expo disc, in case you're wondering. So my camera settings are getting ready to change because I did change lenses. Okay, they are gonna change. To what yet? I don't know, I'll tell you. But I do know that I have that, and I'm getting down because here, I'll do this overhead again since you can see me. Get down from, I changed my angle. Okay. All right. So these are down from the side. I'm getting directly from the side. And I want to make sure I cut a straight slice. I'll make sure that the cut is straight and not crooked, because otherwise I'm going to have some within my focal plane and some of the bread outside of my focal plane. And so whenever you're stacking things, whenever you're cutting things and you're getting it from the side, you want to make sure you have a straight line that stays within that focal plane that I'm making, right? So if I make a focal plane that's like this big, we'll say, but the bread is cut and it's part of it's outside of the focal plane, it won't be in focus and it'll look weird and your eyes will be like, what's happening? Why is the bread blurry? Why is it out of focus? We don't want, so this is just like a little marketing tip for you. And it'll help you serve your clients better, help you serve readers. If people are confused, they'll keep scrolling, or they won't buy if they're confused by something, right? They won't take action, I should say. And so that's something that those blurry photos, your eyes are like, what's wrong? I don't understand. And you just keep scrolling. Your eyes are trying to make sense. So if your client's eyes are trying to make too much sense of what's happening in the photo, then they'll keep scrolling. So I'm angling the board just a little bit because I want a little bit more light on. And this might be, I might need to get my other light stand set up because I might need to reflect light back over here. I don't want it to be too dark. All right, so let's talk about the camera settings. Your shutter length should never, again, be lower than the focal length of the lens. This is a 100. It should never go below 100. I like to play it safe. Okay, I'm at 250 right now. But again, that might change depending on my aperture. Okay, that's the first setting. Actually, I am going to reset my Expo disc or my white balance. I increased my depth of field just a little bit to 7.1. I did create an angle. I did just move the bread at an angle, even though I said to keep it a straight line. It's possible to do the angles you just have to make sure you compensate it for it with your depth of field. Here it is. Okay. All right, everything was looking a little bit pink, so I changed, and now that's better. Okay, I think I want a little bit more on my board. A little bit darker. I'm gonna bring my ISO up. You guys, it looks like a smile. It looks like the bread is smiling. I don't like that. I wonder what another piece would look like. I might have to cut into that other loaf. Like those are also things you want to look for. It's like if your food is smiling at you, maybe not. Maybe you don't eat that. Let's see. Let's see if it changes the further I get in. That look like it's smiling? Ah, all right. Let's see what happens now. Okie dokie, you guys. I'll put some of these cut pieces in my little enamel dish. And I'm going to get out my other loaf of bread. I should have she said, you know, on the recipe, be careful not to swirl it like as you put the glaze, you know, as you put the top batter on there, be careful not to go too much, otherwise it'll get too mixed into the batter. And so I didn't. I was like, I'm going to follow the directions exactly. But if I look, hers was like a little more loopy. So let's see. So you're talking like, whose recipe are you doing? Well, I'm pretending that this is a recreation. So I just picked a recipe and I recreated it. Whenever you recreate a recipe, you want to make sure you are following directions to a T. I'm gonna glaze this bread. We're gonna do what we just did. So if not, I'm just gonna work with it, right? I'm just gonna walk you guys through how I would photograph it, but it did look like it was smiling. And you don't want those things to distract readers. Be like, oh my gosh, it's smiling, and that's all that they see, and then they don't want to eat it. They don't want to make it. They just look at the photo and be like, the bread is smiling, and that's all that they see. We want this bread to look yummy. Like the styling boards are pretty. It makes it look pretty, right? The added textures and stuff. I want the food to look yummy though, right? I'm after yummy looking food. And because that's what bloggers need is yummy food. Because that's what readers ultimately want. Whenever I meal plan, I don't look at the prettiest food, I look at the yummiest food, right? And sometimes yummy and pretty, don't get me wrong, sometimes pretty can be yummy. Don't start yelling at me. I'm not trying to start a debate, you guys. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying. I don't know if anybody's trying to debate with me, but was just throwing that out there. All right, okay, here we go. Here's the cut. Let's see. Okay, that one, I don't like the ends. I think it's a little bit better. How do you think that looks, Renisa? Do you think that looks better? Let's see. What do you guys think? It's happy bread. It went from a smile to a grin. Okay, so here's what I would do in this case if this was for a client. I would be messaging them and I would say, "So I did this. Here's what it looks like." And then I would offer be like, "Do you want me to try it again?" And adding in a little bit more swirl. And I would just communicate with the client. That's what I would do. Lenore, what would you do?
I would do that also,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
it's cute. I like it.
She likes it. It's a happy banana bread. This one I'm seeing like I am seeing oh my AirPod just fell out of my ear. Can you still hear me? Okay. Hold on, you guys. It just fell out. Okay. So she likes it. I would I would I would either rephotograph it without even asking the client or I'd ask the client. That probably wasn't very helpful. But okay, so I didn't like the darker specks of banana. So whenever I make two loaves, it didn't take a lot to make two loaves, right? It really didn't. So um, it's nice to be able to have lots of slices to play around with. And honestly, get this. So Verdonda said to me, uh, "Oh," and I said, "Well, I'm making 2 now." Like, I had just planned on making 1, and then Redonda was like, "How many are you making?" I'm like, "Well, apparently I'm making 2." So, because I was like, "Yep, if somebody asks," because I went back and forth, and I was like, "Oh, no, I'll probably be fine with just 1." And I'm glad I made 2. You guys, my overthinker is going a little bit bonkers right now because I didn't wash these dishes. I can hear my mom in the background. She's not here, but I can hear her in the background of my mind being like, "You didn't wash those dishes?" I don't know. You guys think I'm overthinking it? Probably. I can hear you say it. So okay. So I got this dish and I was like, "Ooh, is that gonna be too high of a lip?" But I think it's gonna be nice to add into the background actually. So I've got let's talk about here. I've got some drip from the glaze on there. I've got the bread, I've got a piece of bread tilted there, and then I'm gonna come back down. I've got some more in the background. Sometimes adding that height is nice. There we go. All right, let's try this again, you guys. And I'm gonna put that slice up a little bit straighter again for the focal plane. All right, so my settings here, I'm gonna zoom in to make sure the whole slice is in focus. That's what I need to see the whole slice in focus, not just part of it. So the further back I go, the more I can leave my settings the same and the more will be in focus. Oops. Also gonna make sure I get a landscape shot right here too. Okay. Again, zooming in, making sure the whole slice of bread is in focus, okay? Grab one more. There we go. Okay.
Hey, Melody, you're getting some
Yep.
requests to see the back of your camera to see what you're photographing.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So here is the bread, right? Here is a little bit closer. I don't know if it's in focus or not. You see it? So again, I'm working with my triangle, guys. I'm working with 3 items. So I've got an item, my glaze back there, the bread front and center, and then something there in the background kind of framing it. So then I got a closer, and then I have one that's a little bit further back. Okay. So I want to make sure that I'm getting a variety of close and further back. Um, so if it's too close, like a blogger couldn't crop it square for Instagram. Okay, so making sure that you're paying attention to the white space. There we go. I was gonna say white balance. I was like, that's not the right word. The white space is what we need. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna I got that shot. I got it on the cutting board, and I'm gonna kind of move up to see here. And I want to see more. So I just smeared that. So do you see how I've progressed from pan? I've progressed from pan to slice, and now I'm moving on to plated. So I've got this I want to try too. This is a trivet. It's from Crate and Barrel. Just something different, right? To see, because it is different. Like, so the cutting board is the same color as the bread. So you've got some analogous colors going on. I think that's how you say it. You got a lot of the same color, basically, is what that means. So, and this is a very neutral shoot. Just clearing some stuff off, you guys. Okay, and now I'm gonna I might bring in my linen right here. My plates. These are tried and true. Some of you guys might be tired of the hearth and hand plates, but I am not. So I still use them. I like to stack them, rack them, and stack them. A little bit piece of bread that's torn right there. Let's try it. It's the best part of the job. It's the best part. Okay, so I'll show you the behind the scenes. Oh goodness. I don't know if I like that after all. I think it'll be a good in the background, but I'm not loving it. I might get out one of my platters. I'm looking at my hero inspiration stuff to make sure that I don't miss anything, especially while I'm talking, right? So I can get to talking, forget what I need. Now, here's the thing too, is what is making this banana bread yummy? Any questions? Anybody want to chime in? This is not just any banana bread. It is banana bread with a swirl inside, and it's got a glaze on top. So I have the opportunity here to add in some extra glaze that's going to come down over the top of that slice, okay? And just kind of drape across it. And let's see how that looks. Okay, okay. This is it. This is it, you guys. This is important. I'll show you the back of the camera here. I just don't like the feet. It's like you can see one foot on this thing and then not the other foot, and it looks weird. So I have a big plate, Renisa, on, I have a big platter, a big round platter over there, I think. Oh man, where is that? No. Darn it. I may have lent it to a friend and she may have moved. I thought she gave them back though, but anyway, okay. I have a big Hearth and Hand plate that is like, it's the dinner plate, but it becomes a serving platter. So I don't use dinner plates for dinner plates. I use them for serving platters, and then I'll use like the salad plates whenever I'm serving. Okay, we're over. Are you guys good? I know if you guys have to go, it's fine. I know I'm still photographing. But give me a thumbs up if you're still if you're still here. I want to make sure that I am sharing everything with you guys, but I also want to make sure I respect your time, okay? Okay, I think I like that one. Again, it is a little bit darker. So, Reese, can you come over here and hold this board right here? This. So Renese is going to hold. And I'm just going to block your guys' view for a little bit. Here, come stand on this corner right here. Yeah, I have to step over it. And then just hold it at, yeah, just perfect. So this is going to bounce a little bit. So my bottom part of the bread was a little bit dark. So having her stand here is just kind of reflecting some light back onto it, making it a little bit brighter. All right, let me show you. You can see a little bit of a difference. Can you see that? You can see it really in the top part. So that helped lighten up the top of that bread. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give me a couple slices here on the plate, and I'm going to grab an overhead of some slices. Again, making sure to showcase that glaze. That's the most important part. I'm just going to kind of shift some stuff around, and then I'll move it back into place. You can see my bread, like guys, even. Make it even slices, okay? Even cuts. Okay. And then I'm going to actually I'm going to start out with this linen underneath. Again, I'm shooting tight. You're not going to see all that stuff back there. I still have my 100 on. Now, what I also have that I was going to try out for you guys if you want is I have my 51.8 and I have these macro filters. This is an option for you if you don't. This is a very inexpensive option. We're talking like $15, you guys, for multiple. You'll need to get your thread count. I think this is a two times. So this will allow you to get a little bit closer to your bread, so you get more of those close-up shots without spending $1,600 on a lens. This is not a permanent solution. This is not a permanent solution. Okay, it's temporary, so you can provide your clients with the photos that they need, and then whenever you're able to, you can invest in that gear. But investing and leveling up your gear just levels up your quality of work. And if you're working with clients on a regular basis and you're getting paid to do the work, you want to reinvest in your business. You need to be reinvesting in your business. We got that. Let me see. What do I want to do? Okay, I think I'm going to do this as a 45-degree angle. But actually, you guys are going to get to see the heat gun, because my glaze is firm, which is what I wanted it, but I want it to be just a little bit runnier. So I just keep this heat gun on my utility cart. My cart back here has extra camera batteries, my toolkit, my heat gun. It's a place where I drop my lenses. It gets really hot really fast. So I'm going to heat it up just so it kind of starts to drip, that glaze drip down just a little bit. I do this on my cinnamon rolls, like photographing cinnamon rolls, and um, made them the night before, made the frosting, but of course you want to see warm cinnamon rolls. So I just use the heat gun to heat up that glaze. There we go. So it's as it dries, it starts to look a little bit matte, have a matte look to it. And then as you heat it up, it kind of gives it that glisten. So that's another indication whenever you can see like something's like, oh, that's a couple of days old versus that's fresh and that's moist and that's yummy, is being able to see that glisten. Like chocolate, right? As chocolate chips dry, it's matte, right? It loses that glisten. Using a heat gun, heat them back up just a little bit, makes them look, gives them that glisten that makes it look fresh baked. So that's a little tip for you. That smile. Oh my gosh, I can't get past the smile. So here's this one. I need to get closer to you. What do you guys think of that one? You like it? I don't know if I like it. Just being honest, I don't know if I like it. I'm going to get my parchment paper back out, my tried and true parchment paper. And I'm going to get some overheads of the bread. I'm going to need to clean up my slices, for crying out loud. Straight lines, Melody, straight lines. All right, you guys, we're going to be wrapping up in just a little bit. Be sharing some of the photos that I took with you. Okay, one more question. Have you guys been putting your names in? Lenore, can you see their names? Oh, is that a thumbs up? Okay, that was a thumbs up. I thought she was shaking her head no, be like, they're doing terrible. But no, you guys are doing awesome. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna do this. And then I'm gonna bring my loaf down like I just sliced it. Just slice that loaf. Do some overhead that way. Okay, now, one more question. One more question. Make sure that you guys are answering, getting it in there. So I said, where are you watching from? And what's another question I can ask them? What gear are you guys? Oh no. Okay, here we go. Tell me. I got it. I got a good one. I want to know one thing that you've learned watching this live. Tell me what you've learned watching this live. Okay, put it in the comments below. Lenore's grabbing it. You get your choice of the picture taking shirt or the Pretty Focused sweatshirt that Lenore's wearing, for those of you in cold country. You just saw me put on my 24 to 70. I don't talk about that a lot in the course. I didn't use it a lot at that time. The thing with a wide angle lens, whether you're working on 24 to 70 or you're working on like the 18 to 55, is you don't want to take it to 24. You don't want to take it to 18. It's a wide angle meant for like photographing the entire room. Okay, if you are that like a foot and a half, 2 feet away from your food and you shoot at 24, it's gonna look warped. Okay, we don't want that. So, but I will use it for maybe like a 35. Okay, we're gonna see what that looks like. I'll show you what that looks like. And this honestly helps me right now, photographing with the camera right here. Um, so here's what that overhead looks like. So, okay, I was like, what's buzzing? Okay. All right. So you guys, like, I just like, it's so funny how it's like, I'm gonna get this enamel dish and I'm gonna get the trivet and I'm gonna get the cutting board and I try them and I just end up like my favorite ones are on the parchment paper. It's crazy. So I'm gonna do, what do I want to do? I think I might do a few more slices. I'm gonna do a few more slices, and then I wanna make sure I'm getting a 45-degree angle too. So again, I told you I was gonna focus on, you know, it in the pan, and I was gonna focus on the slices and then plated. So I do need to move on to make sure I have a good plated shot for you guys to see. If you're gonna use a round plate, here's a tip for you. If you're gonna use a round plate, is you cannot arrange rectangles on a plate. And that's probably sounded very confusing, but I am kind of multitasking. So just, I'll explain what I mean. I'm going to show you what I mean. Actually, no, I'll use a small one. I'm going to get a salad size plate. I think you guys can still hear me. So I'm going to get a salad size plate, and I'm going to show you what I mean by this. Is a lot of people, or sometimes I've seen people take like the big serving platters, right? And then where's my other loaf of bread? Have I cut into it? I guess I have. I have just demolished it. So they'll take the whole like loaf here like this, and they just arrange it in a rectangle. Like, you know what I mean? They keep that shape on a round plate, right? Here's what I want you to do. Is you need to make sure that your items, that your plate is acting like a frame for your food, and you need to arrange the food to go along with the shape of the plate instead of forcing. You know those, the like the little shape boxes, like the shape things, where the kids are like they put the rectangle in the rectangle, and the square in the square, and all that stuff. It's kind of like the same thing. You don't want to put a rectangle on a square or on a circle. Okay, I don't want to just stick my rectangle piece of bread or loaf of bread onto the plate in the rectangle shape. I want it to move around and curve along with the plate itself. And I actually love this. I do this a lot. So I could do that on here. I could probably do it on this one, but because I already used it, I want to move on to something different. Oh, can you put that over? Thank you. Again, what do I want to showcase on these slices? I'm going to swap this one out. I want to showcase that drippy drip, drip, drip of the banana bread. Okay, I have a couple slices here. I got my broken one back there. I'm going to move this loaf off to the side. Okay, oops. I'm going to have frosting all over my computer. Okay. I'm going to move this one again. People, sometimes it's like, what do you do with all the food that you photograph? And you're like, well, I would love to give it away, but I don't know if anybody wants to eat the demolished banana bread. So again, just going to put a little bit more on there. I'm going to put a little bit more on each slice. Because this is what makes the yummy. So always have extra glaze. And then I am going to bring the heat gun back out. It's part of what makes it yummy. So we want to highlight that. We want to see that on every slice and every photo. We should see that yummy glaze. I don't know if you can see it starting to bubble and burn. We don't want that. Don't do that. So you guys, I want you to put in the comments what you've learned, because we're getting ready to draw names. So Lenore, I don't know where Lenore's at. Make sure you put in there what you've learned from from this live. I want to see, I hope that you guys have found it helpful. I don't like this slice now because like, it's like that because of this, but you know what? I'll eat it. Fine. I'll eat it instead. I'm sorry. I forgot. You guys are right here. You don't want to hear me eating. That's funny. Oh, no, I don't like that slice. Now it'll be fine. Okay, I'm going here. Add in some of that glaze along the top again. Drip down. There we go. Okay. So I got some neutrals going on. Thinking all this through, just like, you know, I have neutrals. What else do you think? Let me ask you guys. What else do you think you could photograph banana bread with? Like, what other colors have you used if you have photographed banana bread? I'm like waiting for you to respond like you're there talking to me, but go ahead and put them in the comments. I want to be able to read them. What other colors do you think would go well with banana bread? And how do you, oh, I forgot I still have my, so I just zoomed into 70. It's happy banana bread. It is happy, happy, happy. I'm going to put my 100 back on. What is nice about the 24 to 70 is that it does hit 70. So it's like between 50 and between 100. Okay. Okay, there we go. Somebody did ask me on Instagram what my actual camera settings were. Like, you know, what I set the internal camera settings to. And so I'm going to be sharing that with you guys later this week. If you're, I mean, in the course, I do share that inside the course as well. Oh, it's so good. I do share that inside the course. But I'm going to be sharing our 6 specific ones because there might be some different settings. So you'll see this is empty. I'm just kind of focusing on this side right here. And I feel like I might need some melted butter brushed on there. I don't know. Coming up to a higher 45-degree angle. I really like the back of, or I really like this screen back here so I can shoot in live view mode. But I'm doing like a higher 45-degree angle right now. 1600, 7.1. There we go. And then I'm going to come in and get a nice and tight shot, a little bit tighter than what I was. One thing I don't have that I should probably get right here is that, like the stress mats, like the, what are they called?
Anti-fatigue.
Anti-fatigue mats. Thank you, Lenore. An anti-fatigue mat would be really nice. So if you don't have an anti-fatigue mat, it might be something you want to look into. I definitely think that I'm going to get one right here because I don't have like the most comfortable shoes on, but I have tennis shoes. Usually I'm wearing tennis shoes, but I don't like to wear tennis shoes with these jeans. It's the whole thing. So I'm just
I just wanted to, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to pop in because you've had a bunch of people answering your question about what other colors they would use. And it seems like
Yeah,
a
let's talk about it.
50-50 split. A lot
Okay.
of people are saying yellow and introducing fresh bananas into your shoot. But
I
I'm
have
going to go
those.
with the other 50% who said blues and shades of blues to complement the browns in the bread.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see, you guys. You guys, I literally had bananas sitting on the on my desk back here. Um, and I totally forgot to add them into the oh goodness gracious. Okay, so I grabbed some blues. I think we can do some definitely add in the bananas. Oh, not that. Take off that plastic wrap, take off the stickers. Put these in the background. Whenever you're doing the banana bread, you might think, well, don't you want to do fresh bananas? But no, because that's not what you use. Oh, those are just gonna be in the background anyway. That's not what you use for banana bread anyway. Like, this one's funky. Okay, so let's do that. Let's add in some blues. Okay, I got my bananas back here. Duh. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that, you guys. Yes, bananas would be phenomenal in the frame, in the photo. That's actually a really big thing, and I can't believe that I forgot that. So I've got some blues here. I've got a lighter teal. I've got a darker blue, and then I kind of have, I like this stripe, but I don't think I like that one. So let's try bringing in some of the other blues. I'll show you the back of my camera. And for this one, let's see, I think I'm gonna have it kind of peeking in from the front corner this time. Just a hint of color, and we'll see how we like that. It's just a hint, you guys. This is not overpowering at all. Like, it is literally just a hint right there in that corner. Okay, I can try it like this. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom. I can just what I had on the other one. Oh, not that one, because you can see the tag. Okay, and my bananas. Hello. Bananas back there. I have used like a charcoal, like a dark blue charcoal on banana bread before. I'm gonna try this one. See how we like that. Oh, that's fun, you guys. I like that. Add in some more color. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Good suggestions. That was just in the corner, and that was kind of underneath. So I have my dynamic line of symmetry, right? And so you can see the bananas and the linen is kind of leading along this dynamic line of symmetry, pointing to that banana bread like right in the center of the photo. Okay. And then I've got a dark one. How do you think the dark one's going to look? This is fun, you guys. I should have asked for your suggestions at the very beginning. I love it. Everyone has like a different, and the thing is you could go and photograph banana bread and it look completely different than what we've done here today, right? I think the neutrals make it feels a little bit more elegant. Does it feel like that way to you too? Very clean, very classy. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, ooh, okay. I kind of like the dark. Maybe, maybe. You can see like the darker specks of banana in there, and that really picks up with that dark teal. All right. Okay. What do you guys think? You like the dark? You like the light? And then there was the neutral. Actually, I think I'm gonna flip because that neutral one was just so perfectly folded. let me see if I were to like expand this a little bit and have it. Okay, all right. We're getting ready to wrap up. So Lenore, this is like the last photo I'm going to be taking. Lenore, do you want to go ahead and start our raffle stuff? Get all that ready. I think she is. She's like, I am. I've been working on it. Okay, so I think that they're all very pretty. I do. Oh, what's happening? I like them all. So I'll post those photos and we'll vote. We'll vote to see which ones you guys like better. If you like the light teal, if you liked the dark teal, or if you liked that more neutral one. So you guys, this is a session. This was an hour and a half. It does not take this long to photograph heroes. Again, I was talking as I was doing it. And so the thing that I want you to remember is think of it as, when you're photographing, think of it as a consumer. As a consumer, what are you looking for in a recipe? What draws your attention? What do you think looks yummy about this recipe, right? So think about it as, from that standpoint. And then I want you to think about it, and then you go through and you do your research. Make sure you're getting all of those necessary photos that your clients are going to need. And so coupling those together. And then we talk about inside the course that the composition, and this year in March, we just updated to make sure that we're like, how's the flow? Like, can you see like movement through the photo? So if you were to look here, you can see here that I have movement through the photo, right? Okay, so I do have my triangle here, but also I have, and like that helps me to kind of anchor. I've got like my plate anchored right here. I've added things on the top of my triangle, but what I've done whenever I take the picture is like I've added movement, even the swirl of the bread. That's why it's so important that when we're photographing something square on a round plate, that we make it move in line with the plate of the bread. This was your first live. I'm so glad. Oh, I'm so glad you guys have that you guys have learned so many great things. But you want to add in that movement. Those are those little things that is really going to help take your photos to the next level. So again, that was in module 2. So if you are a student, you haven't watched that yet, module 2 of tier 3 is where that content is. So Lenore, are you ready for the spinner?
I am ready.
Okay, we're
Okay.
picking two winners. Here we go.
Okay. So
Oh,
I think
it's
oh, is it not gonna let me do
I
it?
realize it's static, but can you take it down? Share
Okay,
your
well, it's
screen.
okay because
Okay.
okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second. So sorry.
No, all good.
I actually know I have the winners.
Okay. I want you guys
Because, well, I had to make
to.
I spun the wheel and recorded me spinning the wheel. So
Oh, that's right. That's right. So, okay, now.
but I can share my screen. I brought it up. Wait, how? Okay, can you see it?
Yep, we can see.
It's for some reason going very slow. Okay, let's see if this works better. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why this isn't loading. Oh, okay. I think that's going to work now. I can't believe that's happening.
That's
Should
okay.
I
You
just
have
say
the
who the
winners,
winners
though.
are?
Yeah, you can say who the
I
winners
have
are.
the winners. So the first winner is, I'm just opening up again so I don't ruin the names. Okay, so the first winner is Melissa Dale.
Yay, Melissa!
Yay, Melissa Dale! And the second winner is, so I can see it scrolling, but you guys can't. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about this. I can see, but you guys can't, right?
That's okay. That's okay. We believe you, Lenore.
Okay. It's
Melissa Dale, if you were watching,
and
why?
Heather A. Hopfer.
Oh, yay, Heather. Awesome. If you guys are watching still, I want you to email Lenore at prettyfocus.com. And you guys get a choice between the picture taking shirt or Lenore's sweatshirt. All right. And then she will get that ordered and sent to you. You guys,
Yes.
we are talking next week, going live again on Tuesday, the 3 things that you need to know before you start working with food bloggers. So if you've not joined Pretty Focus yet, you're going to want to be there to get even more valuable information. And then be on the lookout for challenge information that's going to be coming around. We don't celebrate Black Friday around here. We celebrate Pink Friday. And so we've got some fun things that are going to be coming your way for Pink Friday. And so that challenge is going to be one of them. So you can be looking for more of those details coming soon. But if you learned a lot here, man, we're going to go even deeper during those lives and those sessions. So you don't want to miss that challenge. Okay. What's
Melanie,
up, Lenore? What else?
We just had a great question. We just got a great question.
Yeah. Oh, we do. Lenore, do you want to answer that question?
Yes, we stay tuned. There is a Pretty Focus shop coming. Look
Yep.
around for around those Pink Friday deals for that. But it's
Yep.
great.
Yeah. We're very excited about Pink Friday this year. So yeah, we'll have more shop information. We had a shop previously. Lenore has given it a nice overhaul. We've added some more items. We've got some more products in there. So we don't worry. We will let you
We
know
got you
about the
covered.
shop. We got you covered. Absolutely. You guys, thank you so much for taking time to join me today. I hope that you learned a lot. It was really fun hanging out with you. Even though I couldn't see you guys or read your comments, I'm going to go through and read all of your comments now. It meant a lot that you were here, and I can't wait to see you put into practice the things that you learned today. I'll see you later.